Incoming assignment. Incoming assignment.
Alright, what do you got for me? Hipster Ninja Power.
Let me give my love to you. Let me take your hand as we walk in the dimming light.
Hey, I'm the Hipster Ninja, saving fandoms one bad adaptation at a time. You know, I think it goes without saying, I really don't care about the Twilight Saga.
The story's just unnecessarily padded and way too pretentious.
I mean, seriously, Twilight Saga?
The books aren't about some epic romance for the ages. At best, they're a collection of poorly written fanfictions about a girl who wants to bone a vampire. A term that, once again, I use loosely.
Hell, the first movie actually bombed at the box office. What could possibly justify making a sequel?
Well, apparently the DVD sold so well that Summit Entertainment decided, yeah, okay, we'll put out the rest of the series.
And believe me, if you thought the first movie was a step away from vampire lore, just wait till you see what they do to another beloved mythical creature. Let's get this out of the way. This is New Moon.
The movie begins with Bella having a nightmare about growing old when she's woken up by... That's right, we're reintroduced to Charlie, who comes in to wish Bella a happy birthday, only to be shot down because she doesn't want to celebrate it.
Yes, I totally feel sorry about a person who completely refuses to celebrate their own birthday. Hell, my birthday is on a pointlessly commercial holiday, and even I show more enthusiasm than that. You know what? I'm actually curious now. Just how many scenes like this are we gonna get? Can we get an emo counter going here?
Bella arrives at school and goes right back to where she left off in the first movie, bitching to Edward about how she wants to be a vampire, only to have him brush it off, and Alice, played by Ashley Greene, invite Bella over for a little party the Cullens are throwing, which she bitterly accepts. That night, Edward spews out some random exposition about their vampire royal family known as the Volturi.
Again, subtle foreshadowing, guys.
Before taking her downstairs to open presents. While trying to open a gift from Esme and Carlisle, she happens to get a paper cut and brushes it off like it's no big deal.
Ah, damn, I got a paper cut. Oh well, it's not like I'm surrounded by a bunch of monsters who go into a frenzy whenever they smell blood. Hello, McFly! Dinner time!
So, smelling the blood, Jasper begins to charge towards Bella, and Edward decides that the only way to save her is throwing her into a wall, breaking a glass vase that cuts her arm, drawing even more blood.
Dumbass!
Carlisle, being the only one able to control his frenzy for reasons that are never explained, sends everyone away and takes Bella into his office where he stitches her up and tells her that being a vampire ain't all it's cracked up to be. Naturally, she refuses to accept this and bitches about it some more when Edward drives her home.
Yeah, you're probably gonna want to get used to that. It's gonna happen a lot in these movies.
The next day, Edward tells Bella that, for her own protection, he's decided to leave her for good.
Remember that. It's gonna hurt later.
And Bella takes it about as well as you think.
Please. Don't.
Okay, real life jokes aside, this is one of the main reasons why I can't stand the Twilight Saga.
Not the BS fanfiction writing. Not the bastardization of well-established concepts, but Kristen Stewart's one frickin' facial expression.
It basically ruins what could be a really intense dramatic scene. Even if it comes right before this.
After being abandoned by Edward and apparently spending 3 days just lying in the woods by herself,
She's supposed to represent the average teenage girl, eh?
Bella simply does nothing as the movie decides to fast forward through the next 3 months. Sort of.
There's a possibility. There's a possibility. All that I had was all I gon' get. There's a possibility. There's a possibility.
So after all that time, Charlie decides that he's had it with Bella's shit and tells her to move back in with her mother in Florida. Of course, being the stubborn bitch that she is, she refuses and decides to call up Scott Pilgrim's sister for a girls' night, which she abandons after discovering that she can see Edward anytime she puts herself in a dangerous situation.
I think feminism just took a stiff kick to the face. And believe me, this isn't even the stupidest thing she'll do because of this.
So because of this, Bella decides she's an adrenaline junkie now and takes some motorcycles to Jacob to get them fixed as, get this, they begin to bond and build an actual relationship.
Wow, I'm legitimately impressed. I mean, Bella looks like she's actually having fun and completely over.
Hey.
You know what?
Forget.
You, movie.
Forget.
You in the soul.
Sometime later, Jacob and Bella pass by a group of random shirtless guys driving off a cliff, which Jacob tells her is a total rush.
Way to go, asshat! You just gave the suicidal adrenaline junkie an even dumber idea.
We then cut to a random field where Bella's about to start riding for the first time, and she takes off without a helmet as soon as she sees Edward.
Yep. And that's still not the dumbest thing that's gonna come out of this plot device.
Bella keeps speeding up as Edward keeps passing her, and eventually crashes the bike, sending her face first into a rock. Because of this, Jacob decides that riding motorcycles may not be the best idea for the emotionally removed psycho that just got dumped, and takes her home.
Also, get used to scenes with Jacob taking his shirt off. They're gonna happen a lot from this point on.
The next day, Bella returns to school, and that pointless guy from the last movie decides to ask her out, which Bella accepts, opting to go see a mindless action movie with, and I quote, guns and violence, because, again, it's a total rush, and decides to invite Jacob along.
Boy, I bet that won't get the least bit awkward.
Long story short, it does, and Jacob loses his shit when he finds out that Bella's still holding out for Edward, and leaves.
He'll come crawling back. They always do.
After that, Jacob disappears for about a week, and Bella goes to confront him, discovering that he too has joined the cult of random shirtless guys. This is the point where Jacob dumps her, saying that he's too dangerous for her. This of course leads to a newly re-emo-sized Bella walking out to an open field, where she runs into Laurent, one of the vampires from the last movie. He tells Bella that Victoria is coming after her, and that, in order to help her, he's going to kill her. Luckily, for her, they need her for at least 3 more movies, so she ends up getting saved by a bunch of CG wolves.
Apparently they're supposed to be werewolves, but I don't buy it. I mean, there's no full moon, they walk on 4 legs instead of 2. Then again, this is the series that made vampires sparkle in the daylight, so what should I expect them to get any other mythical creatures right?
As you'll come to expect from this series, we're built up to this epic vampire-werewolf brawl, only to cut to Bella running back home. That night, Jacob pays Bella a visit and tells her that he didn't want to dump her, and while he can't tell her what happened to him, she already knows.
Gee, I wonder if this has anything to do with that story he told her back in the first movie.
It turns out it does, as Bella flashes back to the story and goes to Jacob's house the next day, most likely after consulting the Google gods, deciding to hang out with the rest of Jacob's pack. She also finds out why Jacob wasn't too keen on dating her when she meets the pack leader's fiancée, Emily.
Who's this?
Okay, what is it with this girl and dating dangerous mythical creatures?
So Jacob and Bella go off, where Jacob explains that a rare group of Quillettes are genetically able to transform into wolves, which apparently offends Bella.
I mean, it's wrong.
Really? 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 Really?
Okay, let me get this straight. You dated a guy who goes into a frenzy every time he smells blood, and you're offended by one of the frickin' Animorphs?
You're such a hypocrite. The next day, we fade into a montage showing the werewolves hunting Victoria, Charlie hunting the werewolves, and Charlie's friend Harry trying to cover up the werewolf tracks, but then dying of a heart attack after Victoria tries to attack him.
Rest in peace, you pointless son of a bitch.
While this is happening, Bella drives up to a cliff where she decides that the only way she'll be able to see Edward again is to dive over 20 feet into the water.
That's right. Bella Swan, the girl twihards everywhere describe as a strong, smart, independent woman, decides that the only way to see a guy that left her in order to save her life is to risk that life diving off a freaking cliff!
Dumbass!
Seriously? This girl's supposed to be a role model? For what? Stage 5 clingers?
The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
Long story short, Bella almost dies, but Jacob makes the save. Again, and takes her home only to find out that Alice came back because she thought Bella was dead.
I have never met anyone more prone to life-threatening idiocy.
You and me both, sister.
Alice finds out about Jacob and warns Bella that werewolves are too dangerous to hang around.
Oh, hi, Mrs. Pot. Have you met Mr. Kettle yet?
Which leads to Alice and Jacob having a tense moment before Alice walks out. While having an intimate moment with Bella, the phone rings and Jacob answers it saying Charlie's out preparing for a funeral. We then cut to Edward in a hotel room crushing his phone. At that moment, Alice runs in to tell Bella that Edward is going to Italy, where the Volturi live, in order to kill himself. Which, again, Bella takes rather well.
Why didn't you let me speak to him?
Alice and Bella decide to leave for Italy against Jacob's wishes. Once they get there, Alice tells Bella to run to the clock tower where Edward is just about to step into the sunlight, which would force the Volturi to execute him.
Edward? What are you doing? Edward? Stop!
No! 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 No!
Oh, thank God.
Luckily, Bella is able to stop Edward from exposing himself to the humans outside, and we're introduced to 3 of the Volturi guards, including Jane, played by...
Arrow sent me to see what was taking so long.
Okay, to whoever thought casting Dakota Fanning as a badass vampire like Jane was a good idea, you should be fired! Why? Because Dakota Fanning looks about as intimidating as a box of kittens!
So Jane takes Edward, Alice, and Bella down to meet the Volturi leader Aro, played by Michael Sheen, and... well...
Well, let's just say subtlety isn't this guy's forte.
Bella is alive after all.
Though I'd still take his overacting over...
Please. Don't.
Through his ability to read minds, Aro finds out that Edward can't read Bella's thoughts for some reason, and decides to see if he and Jane can use their abilities on her, which it turns out they can't.
Oh gee, I wonder if that's going to turn out to be a plot point later on in the series.
However, random blonde guy and Grima Wormtongue agree that she knows too much and must therefore die. This in turn sets off Edward's emo rage, and he tries to defend Bella, only to get his ass handed to him not once, not twice,
Send him to hell! Send him to hell!
but 3 times before Bella pleads the Volturi kill her instead. Aro is just about to grant this request when Alice decides that now would be a good time to show him that Bella will become a vampire, and the Volturi let them go, warning them that they'd better turn her soon.
Lame, 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 lame!
So our heroes return to Forks, where Bella once again demands that Edward turn her into a vampire, to which Edward decides to put it to a vote.
Yes.
I vote yes.
So no.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Why are you doing this to me?
So the Cullens decide 5-2 that Bella should be a vampire and agree to turn her after she graduates. Edward then drives Bella home only to be confronted by Jacob, who tells her that if she's bitten and turned, it's open season on all Cullens. This in turn pisses Edward off, again, and they prepare to square off before Bella steps in between them and Jacob leaves. After that, Edward decides that he'll turn Bella himself on one condition.
Marry me, Bella.
This movie sucks!
This movie is literally nothing but padding and fan service. Plus, the acting is crappy as always, with the only people pulling out a somewhat entertaining performance being Charlie, Aro, and Harry, the pointless character who died after 3 minutes of screen time.
As for whether or not this is anything like the book, I could honestly give less of a crap.
Once again, the only thing I can recommend from this movie is the soundtrack, though the theme Meet Me on the Equinox doesn't quite tell the story that Decode did.
Then again, I've never been much of a Death Cab for Cutie fan.
Unfortunately, this was also the movie that caused a divide in the fan base. Those who wanted Bella to be with Jacob, and those who wanted her to be with Edward.
Personally, I'm on Team Die Bella Die. I'm the Hipster Ninja, saving fandoms, one bad adaptation at a time. Ah, book funnies.